Hi, this is Abe Freetanzer from cinemadailyus.com, and I'm thrilled to be here today with actress Kaylee Reis and director Josef Wladyka, talking about their new film, Catch the Fair One, which is making its premiere at Tribeca. How are you both doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Doing well, thank you. Very nice to meet you, Abe.
Absolutely, it's great to speak with you both. Can you tell me, where did the idea for this film come from, and what interested you in it?
The whole origin story it started in the beginning of 2017. That's when I first met Kaylee. I was at the time getting into boxing myself. I was learning about it and watching it a lot more. And through a friend's boxing social media page, I actually found KO. And I was immediately drawn to her, not just because she was a world champion boxer, but also because she was an artist and activist who uses her platform to speak out on things that she really cares about. And I'm a filmmaker trying to do a similar thing. So I reached out to her and asked her if I could meet up, borrowed a friend's car, took my little camera and started hanging out with her. Went up to Providence, Rhode Island. And at the time she was training for a fight. And so I asked if I could go watch her train, go watch her go to the gym. So we go into this gym, this very hot, our typical sweaty, very hot, tough gym with all these jacked ups, boxing champion, like world champion guys. And there's Kaylee in there just kind of working the bag, going through her routine. And then it came time to start sparring. Some guys start talking some junk. So she takes out her cheek piercings, she puts her headgear on, gets in the ring and starts going toe to toe with these guys. And it was in that moment, an inexplicable thing as a filmmaker. There was just a truth to power and a grace to her. Seeing her, I was like, I gotta put this in a movie. I gotta put this on the screen. And so at the time, one thing that she was speaking out a lot about, and one thing that she cares a lot about, is the missing and murdered Indigenous crisis in North America. And it's something that I had been researching and looking into. So we started talking about an idea of possibly collaborating together and making a film together. So this was, 2 years ago. We started with the initial idea of a woman searching for a sister. And since we both have siblings, older siblings who kind of raised us, we knew that siblinghood was something that we wanted to touch on. And so over the course of 2 years, we worked together, preparing her to act in the film, working on the story, working on the script, and then we shot it. And right before the pandemic. So right at the end of 2019.
Wow. And Kaylee, what was your first reaction to the idea of acting, and what has surprised you about making this transition?
It wasn't too much of a difference in making the transition. What surprised me was that actually it was something that fell into my lap that was actually going to happen, and it had substantive purpose. When he first approached me, I've heard that so many times, listen, I have an idea, but there was something about his passion and his respect and his real, he did a lot of due diligence and getting to know me as a person and really wanted to know my creative input on this very, very heavy subject. But the same type of work ethic that I put towards my boxing career and kind of understanding what it takes to act and kind of really digging down deep and seeing what the themes of this movie was. He hooked me up with a really, really good acting coach, Sheila Gray, and she was able to really explain to me what it takes. And I just applied the same type of work ethic. And I knew there was we had an end goal. We wanted a message to be seen in the movie. So I knew by any means necessary, I was going to do the best I could with the tools that I had and prepare the best I could to do what I did. And hopefully it's okay.
That's great. And as you mentioned, it is a very heavy subject. Was there any sort of eagerness to inject some levity into this movie so it wouldn't be quite so dark and grim?
Yeah, we have a little bit of it with the relationship with Brick, her trainer, like a little bit of semblance of that. But we knew we wanted to have a tone of the film that was dark and tough to watch at times, because it's such a tough thing that it's touching on, And we wanted to really put sort of the frustration and these themes of the emotions and the pain and all that, and put it on the shoulders of this character, Kaylee, who doesn't really talk a lot, but it's there in her face and expression and her body language, and sort of just rip an audience through this, take them on this really intense ride, and sort of punch them in the gut and leave them in a place of thinking,
Yeah, at times such a dark subject that realistically it's almost not dark enough, but it's also something that's an entertainment form, and we had to obviously follow the protocol as far as doing it a movie, but the real reality of it is very, very dark. So it was interesting, his ability to even create that to be something that everybody's gonna still watch is just amazing.
Yeah, and Kaylee does do some things that are very questionable in terms of, the consequences and the people that might get hurt along the way. Do you see all of her actions as justified in pursuit of something important?
I see it as a means by any means necessary, because she has one goal at hand and nothing else matters but finding her sister. So she has to bring herself to realize, because she is human. She's not a villain. She's a human being that has a goal. So she doesn't question herself, but she always resorts back to, I just want to find my sister. This is what I have to do. So yes, she questions herself, but she just wants to find her sister.
Yeah, and from a drama standpoint, I think it just, the most dramatic scenes, I think a lot of times in films are when you're kind of rooting for a character, but they're teetering on the edge of, you're like, oh man, I don't know if that's too far, and making the audience question, well, how far would I go, if someone I loved was really missing, you know what I mean? But to me, I think just as a dramatist, I think those are always the most engaging parts of a film, when a character does things that we always said we wanted the film to be unpredictable but inevitable, and it was sort of something that we kind of weaved into the whole 85-minute taut ride.
Yeah. Do you believe that there are other films or TV shows that are telling the stories that you're trying to tell about missing Indigenous people and human trafficking, or other organizations you'd recommend people should look into if they want to find out more and what they can do?
I mean, there's many films or documentaries highlighting, and there's a lot of organizations. All you have to do is pick up your phone or tablet or laptop and type in MMIW, and you can fall into a wormhole. That's the best thing that people can do, and that's what the main reason for making this film is bringing awareness and having you ask those questions. Well, I never heard of this. This is a real thing. There's so many grassroots organizations with lack of resources that they have to physically go on foot to look for their loved ones every day, because nobody knows about it, and as far as jurisdiction issues and tribal issues and just people don't know about it, there's not that many resources. So there's so many ways you can help. You can even start by, is there a state law in my state that is changing the way that they handle these cases? I mean, that's something that simple. Just do the research and you'll find a million ways to help.
That's great. And Joseph, you're back at Tribeca after winning your prize for your first film, I think 7 years ago. I can see New York in your background, which is great. What is it like to be back, and does it feel different? I'm sure this festival is a little bit different than the past ones.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, first of all, it's amazing to be supported by Tribeca again, for my second film, and I'm very grateful for them believing in me as a filmmaker. And then, I have to give them so much props for basically trying to be the first in-person festival post-pandemic, which is such a beautiful thing. When you feel the city coming back to life and you feel people really wanting movies again in cinema and are hungry for that. So it's funny because, we were posting this whole movie during the pandemic, and it's really hard. And, but it's sort of like it's the right time and the right place for it, for it to be here. We're back in New York. We're New York-based filmmakers, and I'm extremely thrilled and grateful. It definitely feels different. It's been 7 years, so I've done a lot of television directing to pay my bills and stuff, and so definitely a different filmmaker at now, but I think still trying to search, still trying to make movies, that I believe in.
Yeah, and Kaylee, is this your first time at a film festival?
I actually came to Tribeca back in 2016, I want to say. It's a friend of mine had a documentary. Actually, it was called The Boxes of Rule. It's about a Native American all-female boxing team, and I was here to support. So this is my first time actually being so involved and actually be behind the scenes and being, doing the whole shebang. So I'm excited. I mean, I can't compare this to anything else because it's my first time actually being here. But just to be here at all through everything that this whole world's been through, and you know, just this long haul of just even creating this movie is a blessing. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. What expectations do you have for the premiere?
It's gonna be awesome.
Me or us?
Both of you, please.
I just, you know, I don't know. It's such a different thing than like the regular festival, you know what I mean? It's an outside screening, you know. So hopefully it sounds good and looks good.
I have zero expectations. I'm just gonna take it all in. I mean, all the hard work that we both did and everybody did, the cast and crew, production. I mean, it's amazing to be here. So I have no expectations, just to enjoy it. And finally, everybody gets to see our baby grow wings at the trend on the big screen.
That's great. And Kaylee, do you have plans to act again? And if so, do you want to play a boxer again?
Absolutely. I mean, like, it's funny, when he reached out to me a week earlier, I was like, you know, I really want to get into acting life after boxing. I'm an artist. I need something else, you know, but if it's meant for me and I really don't know what to do or how to even start, a week later, he reached out to me. So I want to take this, if this is the journey that I'm meant to have, be an artist and be a storyteller. I'll do it to my last bell, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Awesome. And speaking of storytelling, Joseph, do you have a next project lined up?
I got some ideas. I just was shooting a television show in Japan for 7 months, which was a very intense experience. But it was the most time I ever spent in a country where my mother was from. So there was a very emotional. The whole thing was very emotional. So maybe something in Japan. I'd love to make a movie.
Japanese boxer.
I'd love to make a movie actually just about boxing too, stuff. But the main thing is I just finished that and I just got back and jumped into this. So I will be sleeping for a long time after this premiere is done.
Great. And what is that show about, the one you shot in Japan?
It's a HBO show. It's called Tokyo Vice. It's a memoir based off of Jake Adelstein's memoir, his book. In the late 90s, he was the first American journalist to write for a Japanese newspaper in Japan, and sort of got heavily involved in the Yakuza crime world in the late 90s. So we'll see. It should come out. So hopefully, I'm not sure when it's coming out, but yeah.
That sounds great. And are you both planning to see other films at Tribeca this year?
I mean, I'd love to. It's always hard to find the time, you know, but I'm definitely gonna try to.
Yeah, I want to try to see some films. I'm actually in training for a title defense and another title fight, so I'm actually in training camp. But absolutely, I love movies, I love film, I love art. So whatever I can, you know, keep my eyes open to view.
Wonderful. Well, as far as I can tell, last I checked, the premiere is sold out, but audiences at home can get tickets to watch the film starting on Monday, which is really great. So I wish you both plenty of luck, an enjoyable festival, and lots of sleep after that. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.